Right, I am starting the stream. It looks like it's going, and I'm making a record of what's happening. I'm in a library and a meeting room, and I'm using the HDMI screen, but not for any real important purpose because uh, I just can't really use it. It's kind of just sitting in the background. I have some documents that I guess I'll say that I would have filed with with the Natchitoches City Court, but my lawyer did it on my behalf, and there's been some difficulties with the filings. And I have to look at this as though it's me who's doing the filings. I'm the filer, and this is Judge Owsley giving me a hard time, but instead he's given my lawyer the hard time. But I am not uh, like separated from his entity is not separate from me. We're like we're like in a business together, and he's just talking on my business's behalf. So everything that the city court in Natchitoches does to hamper my defense. Anything he does, anything it seems like it's only between the lawyers, it's only between the judge and my lawyer. It's not. It's between the judge and me. All right, because the judge has given me the hard time, but it's directly with my lawyer. It's courtroom stuff, but it still affects me. So it's just I would have done this the same thing. All right, I would have filed the motion to continue and asked that it be decided upon through the paper records, but that's not what Judge Owsley does. He he insists on personal appearances. And just what, like October 18th was this last one, and this is when my lawyer asked to have the motion filed, or have the the continuance on the fine payment, uh, because we're waiting on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals decision still. And I would I would have filed this continuance asking for I would ask for the continuance myself if I was still representing myself. And since I'm in Iowa, the north part of Iowa, it's it's too far of a drive. It's a big inconvenience for me to drive all the way to Natchitoches to just go into the courtroom and say we needed a continuance because the Third Circuit Court hasn't even picked their judges out of the hat yet. And that will only take 30 seconds. And then I leave. And what do I do in Natchitoches? I drive 1,000 miles just to say, hey, the Third Circuit Court hasn't even given any hint of a decision. So we have to wait on that still. And that's it. That's the court appearance. And my lawyer is saying that on my behalf through the motion. Some things, some some decisions can be made on paper. They don't have to be made on the voice record in the courtroom. But city judges like Judge Owsley, maybe it's going on all across Louisiana with these city judges. Each city, imagine that if that's the case, each city requires you to be present in their courtroom to to um, to make decisions, any decisions, even as simple as this, a continuance on something that we're waiting on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals to decide, to let them know that there's we can't just pay you a fine and then find out later that the Third Circuit Court said that the case should be dismissed. So imagine each city. How many cities are there? There's probably hundreds of cities all throughout Louisiana, and each city judge can do this to people. Can say, hey, you need to. It can demand. The city judge can demand we show up in person, just for like a 30-second, one sentence statement. We're still waiting on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals to make a decision. That's it. I mean, this Judge Ousley, the city judge, demanded, all right, that I had to show up in person, but my lawyer showed up on my behalf, and he had less of a drive than me because he comes in from Shreve, which is a couple hours or so, and me in North Iowa, it's a much further drive for me to show up. If I don't show up, I mean, we know what happens. I get a warrant for my arrest in Louisiana. All right, assuming I ever decide to go back to Louisiana for this, and it's a misdemeanor over my ID, or the ID arrest at the library, which I keep on the front page of my YouTube for people to get an idea of what's going on, what's an encore. This is an ongoing situation for me still. And you know, if this wasn't ongoing still, I would be like I would have put the Rochester one up and just done countdowns until the day that trespassing warning expires, because that one's got about 350 days left for my no trespassing on IBM Park. That would be on the front page, but instead Natchitoches wants to keep this stuff going with this over this ID issue. So, and it's not uncommon. All right, Natchitoches is not it's not out of line with what they're doing with the time delays and giving me or my lawyer a hard time. It happened in Williston, North Dakota. That one lasted 11 months, and Natchitoches only started in January. It's October, so November, December. Still got a couple of months before Natchitoches can outlast. Before Natchitoches reaches a new record for me on outlasting Williston for length of time and litigation and all that. And I mean, I hear of other people who have had longer, much longer litigation times than me, and this is over a misdemeanor. Um, I mean, sure, yeah, you get your speedy trial rights, but after your speedy trial is over, I don't know if there's any rights after that for timeliness. That's just the guarantee, the speedy trial, and it's different in every state. You get a year in North Dakota. It might be a year in Louisiana. I forget. Some people say it's like 90 days or 180 days or something. But that's speedy trial rights. What about speedy appeal rights? I mean, it still continues on. There's time limits that, on the first phase of the offense, where a lot of us we're well aware of that, but then it gets more muddy after that. You don't know what's going on through the appeals, and you got several appeals. I'm in the Third Circuit. The first stage of the appeals is the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, and then if they whatever they want to do, if they want to affirm the city judge's decision that I have to pay $411 and serve another 4 days in jail, then I can appeal that to the Louisiana State Supreme Court, and who knows how they decide. But I mean, this is a constitutional issue that we're bringing up. It's very annoying that they have it set up like this, and laws change. I mean, look at 1996. I was stationed in Barksdale Air Force Base in 1996, and at that time, the drinking age went from 18 to 21 on January 1st. So from 1995 into 1996, the drinking age changed from 18 to 21. The law changed, the whole state law, and it took a lot of pressure. And I understand a lawyer set that in motion to change, and is largely because Louisiana was losing out on highway funds. The federal government withheld highway funds. So I'm not putting that kind of pressure on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm not putting the federal pressure, somewhat, I guess. I'm not withholding money. That's the problem. I don't have the power to withhold money to make them raise the drinking age. All I'm doing is saying that it's a constitutional issue to demand I show ID at any time a cop asks for it. It's built right into, and they wrote it right into their failure to ID is put into the resisting arrest. So it's right in the resisting arrest. No other state has that. And so I'm going through that. That's the background of it. This is what's moving forward on it, and it's just simply uh, waiting for the bat signal from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, and there's still the conversations still have to be made between me and the City Court of Natchitoches, and this was the last interaction. So let's see. My lawyer. This is a redacted version. My lawyer wrote the motion. This is a public document. All right. That's, I guess you could do a public records request at the Natchitoches City Court for. And this is what he wrote. He's asking for a continuance. He's asking for this to be decided over paper, not have me drive from Iowa all the way to Natchitoches to just say we're still waiting on the Third Circuit to decide. So we got the background in the first paragraph. That's standard. Talk about, let's see, decisions forthcoming. The only updates to give the court at the time is that we're still waiting on the decision. That's all you got to say. You think that's all you got to say with Judge Ousley. But I mean, is he any different than the other city judges? Under this case's current circumstances, undersigned counsel believed it would be more efficient for several reasons. Yeah, judicial efficiency. Efficient for several reasons to select a new court date in this matter by way of a written motion for continuance. First, requiring a physical court appearance would mean that undersigned's counsel would have to make a 2-hour round trip from Shreveport to Natchitoches and back for a court appearance in which he would merely reiterate in open court what is already now known by all parties, in this case by way of this written motion. Additionally, requiring a physical court appearance would tie up court resources better spent on other cases at this point. In contrast, a written motion for continuance can more expeditiously be handled by this court in going through the formality of a court appearance. Undersigned counsel previously emailed the Natchitoches City Court Cloyd Benjamin, that's the prosecutor, on October 10th in an attempt to see if selecting a new court date for 8 days later would be feasible. See Exhibit A, and that's the email attached to this pleading. My lawyer has received no reply from Cloyd Benjamin or the city courts from either the city court or Clyde Benjamin, despite several days having elapsed. As the prosecutor in this case, Clyde Benjamin, had any problem with continuing the court appearance by way of a written continuance request, Benjamin would presumably have responded to the email and made this objection known. In any event, undersigned, my lawyer can think of no legitimate reason to object to a written continuance. Given the importance of judicial economy and lack of objection by the state, undersigned counsel requests that this court continue the court appearance, and that was just 3 days ago, to another date. If the court wishes to coordinate its schedule with that of my lawyer and the prosecutor, and then we got information provided but redacted because he doesn't want his information out there. Okay, and then my lawyer wrote this order. You can see it's blank because the judge never signed it. Instead, Judge Owsley wrote his own order. Okay, this is the email. I don't know if I want to really show. Well, it's redacted. What am I? This is the email. All right, we got the redacted version. Apparently, there's a stamped. There's supposed to be a stamp on this, but that was not redacted at all, so I can't show that. But there's a stamp. Where's the stamp? People ask. Who knows enough about court proceedings and filings and written paperwork to have asked, where's the stamp? Who thinks of that? I don't think of that. So I wouldn't even, if I didn't mention it. Oh, somebody wants my ID. There's a Flex. Oh, Flex. No, he's trying to sell Ridge wallets. I don't want to buy a Ridge wallet. If you lose the motion, make sure your lawyer has enough ammo. Okay. Well, I don't know. I would look at how this is being done a little different. So this is the email. Also, pretty much just restating what he said in the official motion. So click out of that. I got a couple more paperworks here that I have to get behind the scenes. You can see it on the screen behind me. I have my email up right now, but I don't believe it's readable, right? I can't read it. So if I can't read it, no one else should be able to. But you can see the actions I'm doing here. At least this is behind the scenes. I don't get many opportunities to show what I'm doing behind the scenes. It's kind of neat. Let me just look at that again. But you can't really see anything. It's it's too small. I got the camera so far back. So, all right, I got a couple more documents. Okay, and I have to find. Has anybody filed a complaint against Judge Owsley? I don't think so. He doesn't seem bothered. He doesn't bat an eye, just like in Williston, North Dakota. Nobody, the cops, the court, the whole court system, they don't bat an eye. It just depends on who's in charge. Some respond better than others. Some cities respond better than others. And Natchitoches and Williston are two that do not respond. They don't care what you guys think. All right, you guys don't affect them. There are cities that cannot be affected. And I mean, you've learned that watching other First Amendment auditors. You know there are some cities that nobody can affect. All right, they're living in their own worlds, and they're maintaining strong positions. All right, I'm gonna pull up. Okay, all right, we got this one. Oh. All right, so I'm gonna pull up, I guess, the order, but I also wanted the other order. So I'll go back and let me open up I'll open up that one. Oh, I don't want it to. Okay, it's gonna take a little bit of. Okay, I don't want that. All right, and now if it's up, okay, then I can open it. Okay, and this window, yeah, this window's gone, so I'm gonna delete. And then, oh, now I need to raise. Okay. Let's see, we got window capture. And then this is the order that I'll just increase. Maybe I'll put my picture in front of that. Let's see. Nope, that's not the one. Uh, was that, was this in it? Okay, yeah, I just kind of tossed that up. So let me scroll that up a little. That's the order, but there's something before that. Okay, and that is where is that? All right, so there's the order, and then there was something before the order. Yeah, that Judge Elsie, he wrote his own order. Denial of our motion to continuance. Okay, I'll just that's the order. Okay, this is the order he made up himself. Okay, I'll keep that in the background. Well, it can be pulled up actually. Okay. Alright, so I'll make another window capture. And no, that's already. Nope, that's the one that's already up. So what about this second? No? Okay, well, I'm gonna delete one window capture. Okay, how about this one? Alright, that one is no good. Alright, I gotta shrink. Yeah, those are two separate. Okay, I'm gonna shrink the one I don't want. Okay, I just, no, actually that's the one I do want. This one comes first, and then, whoops, um, denial, okay. This one comes first, and then I'll just, yeah, I guess download it. Okay. Alright, I'll separate that then. Alright, then I guess I'll just find the order first. Okay. And this is what Judge Elsie wrote for an order. And that's the going against, that's what he's written when I was representing myself. Seeing someone, oh, ID is euphoric. Okay, so he wrote his own order saying your order, I am ordered, uh, well, okay, it is ordered a hearing shall be set um, on October 18th, if and that's um, he didn't say you're hereby ordered to show up. He just said a hearing is set. And this is a strange situation because on the 18th, somehow the prosecutor knew, and they sent somebody. All right, a prosecutor showed up. Even on Cloyd Benjamin wasn't there, but a prosecutor did show up. So they knew about this somehow. But Judge Ousley had to say that they didn't know about this, so we had to have the hearing. Yet somehow, the prosecutor knew about this beforehand, actually, I guess, because it was scheduled a couple of months ago. So the prosecutor just simply had it on their schedule, and they were just ready to go, regardless of which prosecutor shows up. They still had it on their schedule, and they didn't get my lawyer's email. So uh, I guess, yeah, my prosecutor or my lawyer emailed them, and I guess he didn't send it by let's say certified mail to certify that the prosecutor's office got it. He only emailed it, and I think it's interesting because, and I'll have to dig for it. It's in one of my videos that I scanned, one of the documents. But when prosecutor Clay Benjamin made his response to my appeal, I made an appeal motion. He responded with his reply to the appeal, and he didn't just sign his name on it. He signed it on behalf of himself plus like 7 other prosecutors. I think even the Billy Bob Thornton or Billy Ray Cyrus, or what the heck's that? The lead elected the head prosecutor for that parish. Uh, Billy Joe Harrington. All of them. All right. My prosecutor was opened up to the entire. Or my lawyer was opened up to the entire prosecuting team. All right. It's not just Cloyd Benjamin. They're filling in for each other. All right. It's not a matter of this being a dispute between me and Cloyd Benjamin. This isn't Travis versus Cloyd Benjamin. This is me versus the city, but also the city is represented by other prosecutors too on that team. They have a team of prosecutors who are representing the city. All right, so addressing just Cloyd Benjamin, and then on October 18th, somebody else shows up on behalf of Cloyd Benjamin. They're substituting, and I don't know who it was. Um, it could be Methvin. It could have been somebody else. But I think the best course, if I were to go pro se, if I were to get another problem like this in another state, all right, and I have to fight these prosecutors again, I'm addressing more than just one prosecutor. All right, just like I want to know all the IDs of the cops who I interact with on the streets, I want to know the whole prosecutor team and address them as a team. You know, you address them as a team, not just the individual who's going to be the one showing up at courts on your court dates and stuff. That's just one person out on a team. All right, he's got a full team support, and I want to address all of them because they all can step in for each other. When one goes down, another steps in. So you don't just address one. There's always more than one prosecutor. There may be one who's very active. He seems like he's the only one in the office, but they got any town's got more than one usually. Just like when I was in Williston, there was more than just Taylor Olson in Williston, North Dakota. She had a whole team to help her out. Yeah, she had Kendra Engett. She was stepping in and writing her responses and doing a weird sign off. All right, Kendra was signing her name, but still leaving Taylor Olson's license number and address, email, telephone number, all of that identifying information below Kendra Enget's below Kendra Enget's signature. So I mean, they step in for each other on paperwork in the courtroom. They're a team that are against you, so you don't just address the single person. That's what I'm learning from this situation. You want to get some confirmation from one of them lawyers in that prosecuting office, preferably the supervisor. All right, it's like you want to know who the elected district attorney is, just like asking for the cop supervisor on the streets. It's a chain of command that they're working on. A military is this, and it's a military structure. Even though there's, I mean, no military doesn't have any elections. It's usually just appointments. There's no elections, but a lot of the jostling for power is by appointment. Somebody in a higher position can put somebody in a lower position in a certain job. It's appointments. It doesn't matter what the other guys think. It's however the person in the higher position feels they want how they want the decision to go. So yeah, the prosecutors, they do a lot of confusion, and the city judges are right on top of that. They love it because they have such limited jurisdiction. They feel untouchable. But I mean, some city judges can get so bad that they can put themselves into jeopardy too. All right, they have to walk a fine line, just like cops. I mean, we're finding out about cops getting in trouble and then getting criminally charged. I mean, no position is. I mean, look at President Trump. He's been impeached twice, apparently. So it doesn't matter what position. And I'm dealing with a city, not the whole country. And I kind of want to believe that I have the country behind me on my defense. And it's just me. But there are the trolls too. But I think if it's a numbers game, then I think there's more people in support of my defense than against my defense. But if it's a numbers game, I win. But that's not how this works. It's a jurisdiction too. It's a numbers game within the city's jurisdiction. There's small jurisdiction their small limited jurisdiction. So this was the order that Judge Ellsley made, and then yeah, and it's so interesting to me with this. Just so I'm gonna get some water. It's so interesting to me with my. I had my lawyer email Judge Ellsley and ask him to approve me leaving the state on for my bail conditions. So I was apparently I agreed to what? Apparently I agreed to the bail conditions that I had to stay within the state. Well, it was what, like June or something. It was getting hot, 90 degrees, and I wanted to leave right away. And so I was getting pressure. I was staying at a friend's place just a couple days in. Then I started getting pressure to leave. So I asked my lawyer to email the judge and ask that I be allowed. You had to ask in this bail agreement. You had to ask the judge to be able to leave the state in this agreement. The only way you can leave the state is by the court approval. So I did that. I asked my lawyer to request that I be allowed to leave the state. And he wanted to send it by mail, and I'm like, well, I want a faster answer than that. I don't want to wait a week. And I said, just email it to him. I've been emailing the judge with my all my motions before I got a lawyer. We were having we were filing motions back and forth. Well, I was filing motions, but my prosecutor, Clyde Benjamin, insisted on having the cops send me his responses, which is great for my videos because I mean they tried to sneak up on me in the library at my car, just walking down the street. They tried to sneak up on me, but I always had a camera ready to record them handing me the paperwork. So what do I got? Like, I got like I got 6 videos of cops handing me paperwork in Natchitoches because I was always ready to record at any moment. So it's stressful to be under that kind of pressure, but I mean, that's just how they live there. That could be why you're hearing gunfire almost every night in that town. But I was surprised that the the cop or that the Judge Ousley, said it was okay to um, said it was okay said it was okay to leave the state by himself through email. He wrote the order, then emailed it to my lawyer, and that was it. It was a simple interaction. Prosecutor was not the prosecutor was not involved in that decision at all. For just I guess you alter. It's like altering the the agreement for probation. So let's see. Okay, Pig Traders says that silly behavior not. It's aimed. I'm sure it's aimed at me. I would be doing this. I would be filing these continuances if my lawyer wasn't. It's aimed at my lawyer who practices and he's working on a fixed fee contract. Yeah, people say that my lawyer can just bill more hours. I think he can claim gas mileage, but not bill more hours. But I would be filing this motion to extend and all that. But and the first time my lawyer had to go to the city court, I might have been in Missouri or something, and that was a couple of months ago. So August or so, July, August. So, oh man. So my lawyer had to show up. He tried this again. My lawyer tried the same thing to have the judge know, just alert the judge that we're still waiting on the appeals court decision and that there's nothing else to add. But still, Judge Ousley demanded that I show up to his courtroom or my lawyer on my behalf. And he's done it again the second time. The second time now, Judge Ousley uh, used the excuse that he he didn't get any response from the prosecutor. So then it becomes a what's that one-sided? It's a what's a one-sided conversation if you can't just my lawyer can't just talk to the judge without the prosecutor knowing something deuce tecum or uh, what? Oh, the what? Pig Trader's email? Well, it's you can't whatever it's called. You can't have a one-sided conversation and um because the ex parte you can't have ex parte conversation, and that's what Judge Ousley said happens or kind of happens. He wanted to prevent from going forward and responding to an ex parte reach out from my lawyer. my lawyer emailed the judge and the prosecutor at the same time, but for somehow it, the judge still managed to call it an ex parte form of communication. That's kind of insulting. When it's clear, you make it clear in the documents that you emailed it to both the judge and the prosecutor. It says it right on the document that both are emailed. Yet the judge still turns around and says it's ex parte. Like he just blanks out the fact that the prosecutor was emailed. He blanked out that the prosecutor just totally um, ignored the email. And I mean, he's got a secretary. It's not just it's like a team of 7 or 8 prosecutors, and they have secretaries. And yet, within that 8 days, nobody had time to receive this email in any way. There, no response, no thank you for your email to let my lawyer know that it was received. So you wonder what's going on. Are they answering any emails at this prosecutor's office? All right, this is in Natchitoches. The prosecuting office isn't answering like official emails, let alone if you just have a general question of the prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. If they're ignoring actual lawyers on official business, they're probably definitely ignoring just general inquiries into whatever case or whatever. So it's troubling what's going on, and it's making it's just making the process harder. My lawyer mentioned judicial economy, and the prosecutor and the judge are both not practicing good judicial economy by their activity. And I wonder if this is widespread, because this is every city. How many cities are in? Could I just Google that question? How many cities are in Louisiana? How many cities in Louisiana? Let's see. We got the top ranked cities. It doesn't really want to say, does it? That's not a question people ask every day. There's probably hundreds of cities, and every city is likely to have its own city judge, and that city judge is got the power of a district judge. But it's strange. Each city judge has the power of a district judge, but their jurisdiction is limited. They have the power of a district judge without the ability to hold uh, jury trials, uh, and it's and a few other things. Just they don't have the jury trials is a bit, and they can't try felonies. They have the power. The city judges in Louisiana have the power of a district judge, but they can't hold jury trials or hear felony cases. So it's amazing. They say Louisiana's criminal system is screwed up. Well, it's them over being over generous with power to the city, to the limited jurisdiction city judges, and then it just, yeah, there's just a lot more individual city judges that can um, do some real dirty things that a district judge would not do, especially in any other states. district judge or parish judges or whatever they call them. And that's probably one excuse. Using the word parish is like an excuse for them to claim to be under Napoleonic law and to have the rights to not have to listen to any precedent. If you don't listen to any precedent, who cares about anything that's happened beforehand? You just make it up as you go along. And the rationality behind it skews incredibly in some very extreme directions with this ignorance of precedents. Ignorance of precedents. Don't. It's pretty much burning the history books. When you say we're not bound by the precedents of other courts, that's pretty much saying we burn the history books. All right, and we burn the history books and make it up as we go along. But yeah, I'm just kind of going on a tangent here. Mainly wanted to cover this. Um, the judges said he wanted to handle these matters in open court, which means with the transcript that he. Yeah, and I believe Shanita changes the transcript. Anything that can make the prosecutor look bad. And how do you debate that? You need to get the original voice recordings, and that you have to. I'd have to sue to get that. Apparently, that's you'd think I should be able to request the actual voice transcripts because that's a part of my case, and that's the most accurate source of the record. And I shouldn't have to sue in a separate court for the voice transcripts. That should be something that is a part of. It's like it's a discovery. I want to discover. And the discovery, as Prosecutor Benjamins has said, it's an ongoing process. It's not just at the incident that discovery is only confined to. It's an ongoing thing. So every court appearance is a new discovery for the defense, and so I should be making discoveries, and I guess directly of the judge. When city judges pull this kind of stuff against me and against my lawyer of being a time burglar. You ever hear of that word? What's a time burglar? That was from Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he talked about time burglars, people who will steal your time. Okay, there are people out there who do that, and there's a lot of crime in Natchitoches, Louisiana, all throughout Louisiana, but especially in Natchitoches too. And there's people who will shoot each other, they'll rob each other, uh, murders and larceny. But there's people who will steal your time. There's time burglars too, and that's Okay, there's time bandits, and they'll just take. That's another way to say it. And they'll take your time. And that's exactly what Judge Shelsley does. I mean, he was a divorce lawyer. He learned the tactics, and as much as he loves being a judge, he still loves being a divorce lawyer too. It's like he's a divorce lawyer first, and then a judge second, and he'll still find ways to burgle our time, and it's an annoyance. And there's people out there who just, even though they're losing, look at Daryl Lewis. Oh man, whatever, that Wisconsin, that hero. I call him the hero of a courtroom in Wisconsin. Uh, what's his name? Daryl Lewis or something? I forget his name for some reason. But he's doing it. He knows he's on a losing battle using the sovereign citizen movement, and he's just burgling time. I mean, he's disrupting the process and burgling time. And it's not just a defendant who does that. Judges, city judges will do that. The prosecutors will do that. I mean, every situation is unique and different, and it's not always the judicial. It's not always the judicial process that's the most efficient. Sometimes they're the most inefficient. Daryl Brooks, yeah, and Darren Brooks, and it goes back and forth. The defense will waste the the court's time. The court will waste the defense's time. It goes back and forth, and so there's a constant battle there. Um, it's really it's quite something. I don't like to be a part of it, but I mean that's just that's what it takes sometimes to defend yourself. And so I'm presenting here the what's been happening behind the scenes up to this point, kind of like what you can see behind the scenes on this TV. And yeah, I really don't have anything else to add. Um, yeah, the judicial. I mean, they're officers. The judges, the lawyers, they're considered officers. Like in the military, you have officers, and then you have enlistees. All right, in the judicial world, it's officers of the court, and then civilians. And the officers are held to a higher standard, but even the officers can be cruel to each other too. They're not. They may want to speak in pleasant with pleasant words, but a lot of times their intentions are not so pleasant. They just try to word things. They try to word unpleasant actions with pleasant words. Downplay the mean things they do to each other. It's continuances where the prosecution not 3 times with no explanation to the judge. Yeah, there's there's time limits. Like, okay, when you file a motion, the other side has 14 days to respond. Well, all right. I would I would um I would have some concerns with my lawyer only filing the motion within 7 days of the hearing. All right. Usually it's a 14-day window, but maybe my lawyer was testing the how loose the city court follows rules and trying to get something with he had 2 months to file something within 2 weeks of the court hearing, and he did it within a week. Okay, so next time I think I should I should try to remind my lawyer I'm here. It's me he's talking for. I need to be on top of this. It's actually partly my fault. My lawyer doesn't like having to drive down there, but maybe I need to remind him. And within 2 weeks of this next January hearing, assuming the Third Circuit of Court of Appeals has nothing to say about my case still, in its January, I'll have to contact my lawyer and let him know that okay, it's 2 weeks now for the next city court hearing. Uh, let's file that continuance within 2 weeks. All right, because that is part of the rules for a lot of states. 2 weeks. You give them 2 weeks, and if the motion is not answered in 2 weeks, then it's considered to have good merit. All right, it's a meritorious motion. The prosecutor has no arguments, and that's fine. And my lawyer only gave a week, so I would have concern about that. There's a couple of things that could have been done a little different. So that's just something to look at. Thank you, Pig Trader. I appreciate your generosity. 411. The prosecutor, and that 411 is a date. Uh, wasn't I was put in jail then or something? I was thrown. That was the first day I was showed up. I had to go to jail in Natchitoches, which was rough. That was a rough experience. Let's see. Never once answered any of my emotions. It was always two appearances before they filed their answer. Yet I had to show up. Yeah. And you gave your prosecutor 2 weeks to respond, right? I mean, there's a timeliness to it, and every state has a different time frame, and I mean, clearly they have to put time limits on things. You got a speedy trial right, you got a motion submission time frame. My Third Circuit Court of Appeals has a time frame. There's a time frame for everything. We don't live forever, so you have to put a time. There's a time frame on our lives. All right, so you got to put a time frame on everything. I okay. I'm bad at math. That's thanks. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. $20. That's a lot of stars. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think I want to just. I don't really have anything else to say. There's other things I want to do. I just wanted to present some of this information that from my lawyer, and I didn't want to make this too long. Um, so, uh, thank you for stopping. I'm going to end.